All right, Shalom Akim. Call Haloyim La, Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi, Bahashem Hawakakwadash. Shalom to the Akim out there that's pushing the truth, that's laboring in the word, and that's pushing the gospel of the great kingdom that's soon to come. Shalom to the Akwat that's listening in, that's remaining true to the faith and remaining faithful and submissive to their husbands and guiding their children. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes that scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. Peace and blessings to you all. Barakatha. All right, so I'm going to get into this article, man. You know, it's going to be a quick lesson in the spirit before I head on out. You know, got to get ready for the plantation, but we got to sound the alarm on the times that we in, man. You know, this was a couple days old, mind you, right? But you know, the impact is still fresh in everybody's mind. Still fresh. The blowback, you know what I'm saying? That's what you're seeing right now. That's what you're seeing right now in these developments that's taking place over in Afghanistan, right? What the military coins as what the intelligence community, I should say, coins as blowback. Blowback when America goes in there to expand its own interests and whatnot, and then then after a while, it all blows up in their face. That's blowback. That's blowback, and we're seeing that, with this massive evacuation from Afghanistan. Basically, America done pulled out in the worst way possible. You know what I'm saying? Right? So I read, I started reading this article and I was like, okay, this is biblical. This is biblical. So let's get into this, man. It says NATO knives out for the U.S. NATO knives out for the U.S. And we know NATO to be a part of that that beast that the whore rides upon. And it's going to become evident, when we get into this article, man, because clearly we're seeing that America is being shown for being the whore, that the scriptures talk about. All right, so let's start off with Jeremiah chapter 51. Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 6, it says, "Flee out of the midst of Babylon, and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of Yahweh's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Babylon hath been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad." You see? And we're seeing that madness, taking form in the form of this blowback. Right? In the form of this blowback, all these decisions. I mean, you're seeing the sentiment throughout the entire world. Everyone is looking at America's foreign policies, and it's all just become a disaster, as we've already known it was going to become. You know what I'm saying? We already knew it was going to be that, because it was a disaster waiting to happen from the very start. From the very start, man. You know what I'm saying? So now everybody's forced to swallow that large pill. That large pill, 20 years worth. 20 years worth of death, of innocence, millions of innocent people. 20 years worth of that. You know what I'm saying? The same nonsense. Rape, robbery, and murder. 20 years worth in Afghanistan and in Iraq and Pakistan. We still seeing it going on in Syria, right? The foreign policy over in Libya. Hey, man, Afghanistan is the crown of America's foreign policy. America is basically the crown, right? And since that fell apart, all of this stuff is falling apart. All of it. You know what I'm saying? 20 years worth of that. 20 years worth of robbing the resources. 20 years worth, of subjugating the whole government. Right? You got 20 years worth of death of U.S. soldiers. You know what I'm saying? All these families who had to tell themselves that this is for the sake of freedom. You know what I'm saying? And that's how stupid all these Americans are. That's how stupid they are. Because they truly believe that. They truly believe that. You see what I'm saying? They truly believe that. This has never been about nobody's freedoms. This has always been about the interest of private industry. It's always been the interest of the banking, the banking tycoons and all of them, right? So on and so forth. Always been that. That's what it's always been about. 20 years worth of all this death. 20 years worth of wrongly spent money. I mean, come on, man. We're talking trillions. Bro, we're talking trillions. Trillions of dollars wasted. And then on top of that, these jokers that they deem terrorists over there, they got their hands on American weaponry, American guns, American tanks, American aircraft. I mean, come on, man. This is the worst case scenario when it comes to blowback. The worst case scenario, man. You know what I'm saying? And this is all scriptural, man. The water, Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi, because he's doing marvelous works in these hours, man. In these final hours, he's doing marvelous works. He's stirring up all the nations, man. I mean, it's like a hornet's nest that's just been stirred up. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Because 20 years worth of this pill that they gotta swallow, bruh. 20 years worth. Let's go to this article, man. And let's see how the whore of Babylon is actually being described, in these final days, man, because prophecy is screaming. Prophecy is screaming. It says it was bound to end like this. The U.S. and the NATO partners went into Afghanistan in the first place to subjugate and plunder with imperial swagger. And I remember that when I was in high school, man. America went up in there, full gusto, showing all they junk, man. You know what I'm saying? All they junk, and this is the only nation that pushed the propaganda for it so damn hard. I mean, you had Call of Duty. You had Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying? That the most famous first person shooter video game. You know what I'm saying? Call of Duty pushed that propaganda so freaking hard. So freaking hard, man. You know what I'm saying? To this day, people still acclaim, Modern Warfare, Call of Duty Modern Warfare to be the most famous Call of Duty game in video game classics. You know what I'm saying? Right? Now that the whole criminal enterprise has collapsed 20 years later, the recriminations are intense and bitter, man. 20 years worth of nothing. 20 years worth of wastedness. There were extraordinary scenes in the British Parliament this week and among other European capitals. And we understand why they're pulling out their troops. We understand why they're pulling out all these troops, man. We know why. You know what I'm saying? Biden can get up there on the podium and act like a tough guy all he wants to, but we know what they're pulling these troops out for. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? These so-called globalists, right? They all need to push what's coming, man. They need to push this chip. They need to push this Marcus, right? They need to push this poison. They need to push all of this out, and they see that there's pushback coming from the general public, man. They're gonna bring the military back home for a reason. For a reason. You know what I'm saying? This ain't for no noble cause like you saw, Ron Paul pushing. Nah, it ain't for no noble cause, man. This is for the real deal, man. To get this shit popping over in America. Over in America, because they know that the National Guard's not gonna do this. You know what I'm saying? Right? Those UN troops, they're gonna bring all the stops. They're gonna bring all the stops upon the people, man. Right? It says there were extraordinary scenes in the British Parliament this week and among other European capitals. Politicians across the board have been slamming U.S. President Joe Biden's administration for the disastrous failure in Afghanistan. Even German Chancellor Angela Merkel, who was recently referring to Biden as Dear Joe, has taken the blame in his administration for the mess that has hit the fan this week, as Western states rush to evacuate embassies. The French President Emmanuel Macron and other European leaders are worried about the deluge of refugees from Afghanistan. Biden as well as his predecessor Donald Trump are being blamed for the collapse of the NATO-backed regime in Kabul, which has been swept away by the Taliban insurgents. Right? And them Persians went up in there, man. They ran through. They ran through, man. Get your ass up out of here, boy. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Nobody likes America, man. Nobody likes America. You know what I'm saying? Right? And then we got all this madness going on in the home front, man. Let's continue with Jeremiah chapter 51. Let's go to verse 8. It says, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go every one into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies, man. Think about all those trillions of dollars that was wasted over 20 years. Over 20 years. What could have happened if all that money was invested into this country? You know what I'm saying? Right? This would be a much different country. A much different country. That's why it's not, but that's why we know that this is an unrighteous ruler. This is an unrighteous rulership, man. Esau's not fit to lead. Esau's not fit to rule. And we're seeing the you know what I'm saying? You know, we're seeing the fruits of their works, if you will. All right, so let's go to Proverbs chapter 29. Right? Proverbs 29:2, it says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. The people mourn. You see? Let's continue. It says, whoso loveth wisdom rejoiceth his father. Whoso loveth wisdom rejoiceth his father. But he that keepeth company with harlots spendeth his substance. And all these other nations have spent their substance dealing with this harlot, man. The French, you know, Germany, right? Britain, all these people that stood shoulder to shoulder with Babylon the Great. They feeling it now, man. It says Biden as well as his predecessor Donald Trump, man. Ain't no difference. Ain't no difference. Both sides of the aisle are being blamed for this shit, man, because it's true. Because it's true. The empire pressed on. The empire pressed on, but it's at its end. It's at its end. You see? You see, the beast shall hate the whore, man. Lord willing, I'm going to get that scripture. It says, Boris Johnson said the British and other NATO members had no choice but to cut and run from Afghanistan because the Americans had preemptively done so. Hey, man. Hey, that's how you know that this is the whore, the daughter of Babylon. You know what I'm saying? And she rode this beast. She rode this beast. The beast is NATO. The beast is NATO. And the whore rode this beast. You know what I'm saying? To continue her enterprise, to continue her influence, her empire. You know what I'm saying? Had all these Middle Eastern women, these so-called Middle Eastern women, you know what I'm saying, having rights and twerking and got, you know, becoming westernized. The moment Taliban, the moment these jokers got up in there, they said every single one of y'all put on head wrappings, you know what I'm saying? Cut this twerking out. I mean, yo, they yo, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Now everybody's talking about, well, what about the women's rights, man? They ain't having it. They ain't having it. It's about to get real, man. It's about to get real. These jokers are setting order up over there with the quickness. With the quickness. Right? But let's get into this whore, man. Let's get into this harlot. Right? Let's go to Revelations. Let's see. Revelations chapter 11, verse 18. It says, and the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints. You see, and them that fear thy name, small and great. You see, and it's gonna be a it's gonna be a recompense, man. It's gonna be a real recompense, right? And the reward is gonna come to the Most High servants who have been sounding the alarm, right? Continuing, and it says, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. And America has destroyed the whole world, man. America has destroyed nations. They have taken their cultures, their customs. You know what I'm saying? Right? As it is written in Micah. You see? He has oppressed these people. He has oppressed the man in his house and even the man in his heritage. He has oppressed these people all around the world. Therefore, the nations are mad. Right? Let's see. All right. Let's go to Revelations chapter 17 now. Revelations chapter 17, let's hit verse 1. It says, and there came one out of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore, which sitteth upon many waters. The great whore which sitteth upon many waters. You don't understand that this great whore is America the Great. Right? Verse 2, it says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication. You're hearing about all these kings, man. You're hearing about Emmanuel Macron. You're hearing about Boris Johnson. You're hearing about Angela Merkel. You're hearing about all these nations that stood toe to toe, or that stood hand in hand with this harlot, right? With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. I just mentioned all those women over in the Middle East, you know what I'm saying, who are becoming modernized, or not modernized, but westernized. You see what I'm saying? Right? Verse 3, it says, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman to sit upon a scarlet-colored beast. A scarlet-colored beast. What's that beast? You see? Full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Right? Verse 4, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup. Having a golden cup. What was it saying in Jeremiah chapter 51? Right? Babylon has been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand. This is what it's talking about, man. Having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. Verse 5, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great. America the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Right? Verse 6. Oh, verse 6. And it says, and I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahawashi. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration, man. Listen, the blood of the saints. We all know what happened over in slavery. We know what happened during Jim Crow. We know what happened. We know what happened to the Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Indians. We know what happened. We know what happened, you know what I'm saying, during the Trail of Tears. We know that. We know this. You see what I'm saying? Full of the blood of the saints. Right? Let's see. Let's get this. Bear with me, Yakim. Verse 7. All right, let's continue. Verse 7, it says, and the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. You see? The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition, and they shall dwell on the earth, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life, for the foundation of the world, from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. You see, we're looking at NATO, man. We're looking at all these nations that took part, you know, who America led on a leash. You see what I'm saying? Right? Let's go on. Verse 12, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings, 1 hour with the beast. Right? These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. That's talking about World War III, man. During World War III, when this beast is going against the harlot, and all these nations are fighting each other, that's when that's when Yahawashi is going to turn up. You know what I'm saying? When Yahawashi is going to show up, and all these nations are going to turn their eyes to him and try and fight him. Right? It says, these shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is Yahawah. He is Salaki. He is the Lord of Lords. He is the Lord of Lords and King of Kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. You see? And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. You see? You see? America has full control over all these nations. America has full control over all these people. America has full control over all these people's customs, their languages, right? Everybody's second language needs to be English. You see what I'm saying? peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns, verse 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. And you're looking at this this beast beginning to hate the whore. You're beginning to see it. You see, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire, man. You see, and you get a piece of this prophecy over in Isaiah, the 13th chapter, right? Verse 17, it says, for the Most High Yahawah hath put in their hearts to fulfill His will, and to agree. You see, the Most High is going to put into all these nations the mindset to shoot their nukes at America. He's going to put in the heart of all these nations to do His will and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of Yahawah be fulfilled. Right? And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. America reigns over the kings of the earth, man. America reigns over the king of the earth. The kings of the earth, Salaki. It says, Boris Johnson said the British and other NATO members had no choice but to cut and run. It had no choice but to follow the whore. The beast had no choice but to follow the whore. This is scripture, man. The beast has no choice. The beast had no choice but to follow the whore. You see what I'm saying? NATO members had no choice but to cut and run from Afghanistan because the Americans had preemptively done so. Because the whore had done so. Because the whore had pulled the reins of the beast to go in this direction. So now the beast is starting to hate the whore. How hilarious. So much for global Britain being a world power for good alongside its American special partner and their shared values. A British Navy flotilla currently on a world tour is seen to be as useless as a rubber duck in a bathtub. Yo. Yo. Y'all seeing this, man? British lawmakers and former military chiefs are livid. They are livid from the U.S.'s rapid withdrawal from the Central Asian country, which blindsided other NATO members. It blindsided other NATO members, man. Nobody was ready for this. Nobody was prepared for this. They're sitting around looking like, what's going on? What are you doing? What are you doing? Now we got all this destabilization, which you caused, which all you caused, at the behest of good old America. You see what I'm saying? All right, so that's all I'm going to get from this article, man. That's all I'm going to get. Right? But you see what's going on here, man. Let's go to Revelations chapter 18, verse 4. Let's bring it all the way back to you Israelites, man. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians. Let's bring it right back to y'all, because that's what this is really about. That's what all this is about, man. You got to put two and two together, man. That's what all this is about. This is ushering in the rulership of the Israelites. The rulership of the kingdom of heaven, man. Beginning with the elect. The house of David. Let's go to Revelations chapter 18. Verse 2, it says, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils. It's like the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations, For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people. Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins. You see, as we see all these things coming upon this place, we see all these things happening, man. That's why the prophets are out here, speaking the words. You know what I'm saying? Sounding the trumpet. Because it's got to happen, man. It's got to happen. It says, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues. This bitch is about to go down, man. Y'all need to get out of the line of fire. Verse 5, For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquities. You see what I'm saying? It's all coming down to it, man. All right? So I pray this lesson has been edifying. I want to say, Call Halayim La, Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi, Bahashem Yahawadah. Shalom to the Yakim that's pushing the truth, that's laboring the word, and that's pushing the gospel of the great kingdom that's soon to come. Shalom to the Yakwah listening in, remaining true to the faith and remaining faithful and submissive to their husbands and guiding their children. Shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. Peace and blessings to you all. Barakatah. Shalom.